And we're in studio today with Sean Dollinger, co-founder and CEO of Namaste. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much for having us on again.
Absolutely. And I think the last we spoke was probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago or so. So a lot has happened in that time. How has been the first month or so of legalization?
It's been amazing. You know, for Namaste being a vaporizer company, one thing that I never expected was for our vaporizer sales to pop. Just to give you an idea, on legalization day, we did in the one day what we did all of 2017 in October. So that was a fantastic surprise. So
no
it's
kidding.
been great.
Yeah, vaporizers, the more I'm seeing, we just got back from Vegas, the MJ Biz conference. I know you were there as well.
Absolutely.
And you go to the dispensaries over there, and I'd say half their product lines are vaporizers in one way or another. It's amazing that not necessarily the actual liquid isn't available in Canada yet, or they're slowly getting there, but when it does happen, I think vaporizers are going to be a really big revenue generator for all these LPs, opposed to just flower.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, not too long ago, we announced an exclusive distribution agreement with Aurora, where we power their store for vaporizers and supply them for fulfillment. And you know, they've been in front of the ball by going ahead and offering that whole product line. And like you said, I think everybody's going to kind of follow in that direction.
Yeah, and I really do, because you know, it's people say quote unquote healthier. And at the end of the day, I personally believe it's better than smoking just flower, but everyone has their own preferences, and you're going to find that throughout the market.
Absolutely, and vaporizers are great for flower as well, believe it or not. It actually prolongs the use of the item and makes it super clean to do, and some people don't know how to, for example, roll their cannabis, so the vaporizers allow for a really simple and easy solution.
Oh, perfect. Well, let's talk about a couple of things that have happened recently. One of which was actually, I believe this morning, is it Buds? I'm messing up the website. It was Buds to Go?
Buds to Go.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're fantastic guys. You know, one thing, and we could speak about the website in a sec, but their team is so unbelievably talented. Simon and Merlin and Josh, the three partners over there, they're great, and they each bring their own angle and avenue of expertise. So besides having a website now that has 70,000 users out there, and I'd say some of the best traffic in the space in Canada, Namaste is now able to integrate it on its platform and it to become a licensed producing website.
Yeah. And it's interesting because one of the elements I'm finding so much speaking to other CEOs and just speaking to people in the industry, obviously marketing is a huge issue for Canadian cannabis companies. So when you have issues with marketing, you have issues with packaging, where the packaging is just, we won't go there, the packaging, too much opinion for myself will come out. But when you're looking at these different elements, you need to find a way to reach people. And it sounds like Buds to Go, I think I read it's something like 400,000 views a month or something like that. Yeah. That's a significant amount of people who could potentially become patients of CanMart.
Well, as I said, I think it's some of the best traffic in Canada that they're getting for certain keywords out there that are extremely powerful keywords in Canada. And you've hit it bang on the marketing, right? It's very hard to market in this industry. So if you have the organic traffic coming to the website, you could then take a customer through the journey and help them make the choices. And that's where we're using our technology to really help. And even on the packaging you're talking about, Namaste is doing things outside the box. We're working with this company called YPB out of Australia, which is a trust company to make sure that, hey, if you bought Aurora's product, that it's actually Aurora's product. Yeah. And through the QR codes, we could now do augmented reality, where you go ahead and you put your phone on the package, and boom, all of a sudden you get this whole experience explanation of the product, in depth, and again, we don't know of any other company doing it in the entire space.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting, actually. Yeah. And speaking of actually your website and actually delivering cannabis, obviously we've had an issue with Canada Post going on rotating strikes. I think like a couple of days after the legalization, if not that exact day. How is CanMart and Namaste, how are you getting your product out to your different users and medical patients? And do you find that there's an opportunity there to take even more of a market share in that delivery of cannabis?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up. When Namaste started on its e-commerce site, there's a lot of challenges we faced. We're obviously the leading B2C vaporizer company in the world. Even like you said, you see all these vaporizers and the dispensaries. So even with all these dispensaries popping up everywhere and all the online competition, Namaste has remained ahead of the curve, right? Our revenue keeps growing and we stay in front of our competition. But when we entered into Canada on the cannabis side of things, we had to make sure that we followed regulations and rolled it out right. And the government really likes Ample Organics, what they've built. They were one of the first companies to do the seed-to-sale management. So we had to integrate our technology and our platforms that we have globally on that as essentially the backbone, or middleware at least, to be able to do and meet all the protocol. So we started only with about 6 products on our website. And then today, we're already up to 16, and next week we'll be up to 24. And the reason I bring this up is I've told our investors, our shareholders, and anybody who wrote in, this isn't a sprint. This industry's here to stay. We want to do it right. And if you speak to any of the customers who've ordered cannabis from our website so far, they've had a fantastic experience. I'd prefer to start with 5 orders the first week, 20 orders the second week, and keep that exponentially growing, than to do a rollout like some of the governments have, like the government stores, right? Where they did have all these different SKUs and products, but look what's happened. People are going ahead, writing, I'm waiting for my cannabis for 3 weeks. That now ruins that customer experience. Why are they going to be in a rush to go back there? Won't they give Namaste a chance? Won't they come and see what makes CanMart different than all the other stores across Canada? And that's what we're after. We're after a relationship, an education journey with our customers using our AI and machine learning to put the right products in front of your eyes.
Yeah, and you brought up an important point there of, you only get one first impression. And it's amazing to see, checking my personal Facebook or different social media mediums, and you're seeing people where they've been consumers for years. We all know the gray market and black market was thriving in Canada, and that's half the reason why we went legal, to just to get it all out in the open. But you're seeing a lot of people have terrible experiences, whether it was a poor product. There's some issues with product not coming the right weight. You didn't watch them open it, so it's hearsay, but these are the things that are coming out. But one of the biggest ones is just the sheer weight for their product, where they're now looking like, I'm never going to try that again. You only get one chance to make a first impression.
Well, that's the difference, right? Starting next week in Toronto with our technology, we're going to actually be able to offer a 4-hour window for delivery. I don't know of any other company doing it out there where...
That's fast.
It's in the GTA, literally, you could go on our website, be connected to a nurse practitioner in 10 to 15 minutes, get your medical license, be put back into the CanMart experience, which now will have 24 different strains. Pre-rolls are now going to be available next week on our website, smaller packages, because we started with larger packages. Now you'll be able to get samples and different sizes. And then through our investment in Pineapple Express, where we own 20% of the company, and they're doing great. In Manitoba, they launched over there, and the results, and Randy calls me every day to give me updates. He's super passionate and excited. He can't wait to blow it out of the water here next week. And we can't wait to record a whole experience from somebody going on our website, clicking, being connected to the nurse practitioner, placing their order, and getting it delivered to their doorstep within 4 hours.
Yeah, and the 4 hours is key. If you can do that, it's actually, I know there's still some illegal dispensaries throughout Toronto where they do have delivery service like that. I think that is a competitive advantage if you're able to get it within that 4-hour window. Even just the same day, funny enough, people would be, I can't believe it actually came today, compared to what's
or even
recently
next day,
happened.
right? Anywhere in Canada, if we could go ahead and offer, if you order from CanMart today by 7 p.m., because we're located right by the Pearson Airport, and you get it to your doorstep by noon the next day, I think everybody would be really happy with that to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that actually leads into some questions from our audience. We reached out to the Namaste Facebook group. Okay. Let them know we're having an interview. I always like to know what investors are wanting to know. So there's a couple of questions here. One of which was actually exactly what you just said there about your store near the airport. And by the airport, we mean Pearson, Toronto. How are you going to be marketing that store? Are you going to be doing flyers? Are there billboards? Have you guys created that process of how we're going to say, hey, this is Namaste, here we are?
Well, it goes back to something earlier you spoke about, advertising. We're really limited on what you can do, and we need to make sure that we comply with all rules and regulations. That's the #1 most important thing for Namaste. Pearson, I looked it up just for fun, 50 million travelers through Pearson Airport. And it's almost like the law was written for Namaste, because the way that it read, and we never thought we'd be able to have a rec store, it says that each LP is allowed one recreational store, and it needs to be connected to your facility. And our facility happens to be located a mile from Pearson Airport. If you think about Namaste, we have 1.5 million customers around the world. To give you a comparison, Cannabis has 180,000 customers. Namaste, 1.5 million. When people land from the UK, when people land from Australia, when all these different people come, they already know the name Namaste. There's going to be excitement driven around that for them to come and experience cannabis at our facility. The other cool thing about Namaste is if this was, for example, Cannabis, they would only have Canopy products on their shelf. As you know, we're not a cultivator. We buy product from other licensed producers to create a marketplace that's completely unbiased, giving our customers selection. People will be able to land and have a whole selection of product from all different licensed producers. I think we're the only ones doing anything like that close to the airport.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And in Pierce, I didn't know they had 55 million. I knew it was a really busy airport, Toronto. Everyone, whether to stop over to other provinces in our country, 55 million, so that's a good number. Another question from our audience is in regards to Quebec. There was a new premier who was voted in recently. Since you guys were out of Quebec, do you have a strategy, or are you going to be pursuing to get back into Quebec now that possibly with this new premier you might be able to get back in?
Namaste takes a whole approach about education. Cannabis, at the end of the day, it's a medicine. And if it's used wrong, people can have bad experiences. And Namaste's stance is let's educate. Let's help people have a great journey using the medicine for whatever they need it for. And we will be launching a concept where we could go ahead and educate people across Canada through a interesting model. And that's what we'll be looking to put into Quebec in the coming months.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's always hard dealing with Quebec. This is a personal opinion of my own. I've been a Canadian my whole life, and I look at the politics a lot. And of all the different provinces, there's, Quebec does a very good job of keeping their own in there. So it's really hard for outside companies to get in there. So, but any ability of getting in there is fantastic, and we just take it from there, from the sounds of it.
Yeah, and I'm a Montrealer. I was born and raised in Montreal.
I didn't know that, actually.
And yeah, born and raised, was there till I was 19.
Nice.
So.
Well, there you go. We got the tie.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows where that leads.
Yeah. Now, one other really good question that someone was asking about is your craft program for micro-cultivators. So not a lot of people are talking about the micro-grows yet, and I don't know why, because that's actually, I believe, going to be a very strategic market for people to get into, because if you're a grower and you're really passionate about what you do, you might not take an LP model. You might not want to do a 500,000 square foot facility. You might want to do a smaller one, or just in general, I think the craft growers, just like, nice whiskey that's been aged, 15 plus years, whatever it is, or wine, you get these craft or small batch, if you're talking about alcohol, small batch alcohol or craft grows. I think there's going to be a lot of quality that comes out of there, a lot of flavor. Like that's where the connoisseurs are going to be going towards. Is that type of is that something that you are gearing towards? Like I want or these micro grows because I know they're going to be having like some of the highest quality cannabis, or what's your strategy with that?
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I think that the connoisseur knows that you can't grow cannabis on such a large scale and still get that quality. So we constantly hear we have this X amount of square feet, over 1 million square feet. I have the largest LP. What's going to happen there, that product's just going to become a standard product. And what happens if people don't really like it? That's going to end up driving the price down. It's all about supply and demand. Have you heard of a company called Supreme?
Yep.
So for your viewers who might not know Supreme, and they should definitely check out that whole concept. It's pretty unbelievable. All the kids love it these days, and adults. And they create excitement and demand off a drop that happens once a week on Thursdays. Yeah. And I was just in New York recently, and I see the Supreme store, and my son asked me to buy him something. So I looked, and I'm like, wow, it opens at 11. That's a funny time to open up. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's to do with the clothing and the culture. 11 comes, I walk in, and there's security guards, and they're like, you can't come in. I'm like, what do you mean I can't come in? They said, well, did you enter the raffle to be able to stand in the 2-block line? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, what does this even mean? And I forget the gentleman's name, but he started a show called The Patriot Act on Netflix. He's a comedian, but he's very smart. And he put together this whole thing on Supreme about how they're creating this dynamic culture of excitement and making it feel like you need to get something rather than it just being available. Yeah. And that's what we see with the microgrowers, Arguably, they have some of the best cannabis, not only in Canada, but the world. And right now, they've been sitting on the sideline. And the way that the license work, they're only allowed growing up to 650 kilograms a year. And a lot of people are saying it's even going to be tough to get off the 650 kilograms a year. So on our technology platform, we'll be able to create a whole section that's just micro cultivators. And through the year, we'll let our customers and shoppers know exactly how much cannabis they have left in their supply for the year. So instead of there being an oversupply of product, here there'll actually be an undersupply. It's capped, yeah. And then people who really love these products will go in and do whatever they can to get that product. That's the excitement that we want to cause in the industry. We want people to love what they're buying, not just to buy something to buy it. We want people to understand what they're buying and to bring them the top quality products. Yeah,
it's much like champagne, and I can't remember if it's the Chinese or Japanese, they love their champagne grape. They love champagne wine, and part of the reasons why champagne, like true champagne, not just sparkling wine, one of the reasons why it's so expensive is because one, supply is not that much, and there's a high demand for it. So by the time it gets to North America, or the time it gets just to the user, you're paying an arm and a leg for it because, one, it's quality. You want that, but it's because of the supply. It's because there's only so much of that certain kind of drink. In this case, it sounds like a certain kind of cannabis.
Yeah, once it's out, it's out. They're not going to be able to grow any more in that year. It'll be impossible. Yeah. So just imagine that now there's actually a demand, there's excitement around a certain strain and product, and that's what we want to cause. That's what we want to see happen.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I always appreciate your time on the show. Thank you for all of our viewers as well. We'll try to do that more often as well when we've got questions for either yourself, Corey, anyone in the Namaste team, to turn to the investors and try to get their questions answered, which we were able to knock off today. So I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Absolutely.